Hello everyone, welcome. My name is Resul Caner Yildirim. I'm coming from Turkey, Istanbul. This is my 6th year in community in GDG Istanbul, and also this is the 10th year of GDG Istanbul. So that's gonna be a lot of experience sharing today. So thanks for being here. So today I'm gonna try to share my experience, share my 6 years of experience with you. So I started to GDG Istanbul in 2013, right after the first DevFest ever in Istanbul. So we were expecting about 800 attendees, but we got 1,500. So that was a huge jump start for Istanbul, and it changed everything about community. Sometimes I just hug the community, as you see, and sometimes the community hug me. And since then, actually, I'm trying to give my all effort on my free times to GDG Istanbul. And actually, I got 3 times of warning from my company because of my main focus on GDG. So I put everything sometimes. And also, we did very interesting things like, folding T-shirts during the conference, but it's not playing. What's the problem? All right, I'm going to tell you the story. So in 2014, while we are doing the DevFest Istanbul 2014, we were expecting around 2,000 and 2,500 people. So we actually got a sponsor for the T-shirts, and they provide us 3 different colors, and the amounts of T-shirts were different. 800 of white, 300 of black, and so on. So actually, to avoid any conflicts with the attendees, like I want the white ones, I want the blue ones. To accept this problem, we actually decided to give them randomly by putting them into boxes. But the thing is, the T-shirt company forgot to fold them, and to fold the boxes and the T-shirts, and we spent about 11 hours by folding the T-shirts, folding the box, putting the T-shirts into the box, and putting the box into the bags. So that was hell of an effort. So this video actually was showing you the process. Then this is the last DevFest in Istanbul with 1,563 attendees. This is the keynote. As you see, I'm the keynote speaker with Burcu. And actually during the keynote at 9 a.m., there were 1,200 people. So when you consider this effort and when you compare it with the attendees to the events, actually sometimes you say, yeah, that was good, that worth it. But it's not easy all the time. We of course had some problems. And this is also the last International Women's Day Summit in Istanbul. We actually got 483 attendees. And actually, a couple of them are not from the team, but that was the team that organized the event. So this is not a big group. We are about 8 people in the core and about 20 to 25 volunteers during the events. So it's not a big deal for us. And since then, actually, I've been describing the community and evaluating the community in 3 main chapters. The first one is purpose. So we are getting around a purpose to accomplish something. And as you can see, purpose fuels passion, Siegel says, CEO of GE Ventures. And when you put the purpose on the main focus, actually there is nothing that you cannot successfully complete. And we are lucky because as a community, as GDGs, we have already a defined purpose. Our purpose is providing a reliable, a pleasant, liberated, public, and technical platform for developers in our regions. So it's basically a playground for them to experiment new technologies, to learn them, and also make discussions between them. But things are changing when you go deeper. For example, we also need a purpose for team members, not individually. All of them should have a purpose. And for GDGs, I think, it might be supporting the team and put some effort to organize the events. And the basics of it, the reason why we do is actually sharing experiences and sharing knowledge and reach as many as people we can to provide this information whose cannot get. And individually, we all have purpose. For me, it was networking. And when I joined the GDG Istanbul, I was at high school. So I'm about 23 years old now. So every other people, actually, in other communities were not very supportive for me during the time because of my age. Because all the people around 35 and 40, and that was same for the GDG Istanbul too, they were like 30 to 40. And I didn't have the self-confidence to provide my skills for them. Because, you know, there was discrimination sometimes, it wasn't so supportive and so on. But when I joined the GDG Istanbul, I realized that when you support a person, when you actually get him in the team with using his skills and show him that he can actually success something, that's gonna, you know, fire up the spark. So my main purpose was actually gaining myself self-confident and making networking to new people all around the world. And since then, actually, I've been giving talks already in 17 different countries so far. And I actually count them, and for the recent results, I made a speech to 5,000 people already. So that's a huge, huge amount of people. So that was the spark that Murat actually fired up 2013, and now I'm a public speaker that hold different talks in 17 countries. The next one is people, because without people there will be no community. So we need people to attend, and we need people to organize. And to do that, actually, we have to define the roles, because in every community there should be different roles for different persons. There will be members, there will be organizers, there will be leads, and we actually expect them to show different behaviors. So for members, actually we expect them to attend and discuss and actually give feedback. How was it? Did you really learn something? Or should we provide more information to you? Should we go with 101s, or should we do 201, 301, and etc.? So members actually the key point of the community, because they keep you alive, they support you, they attend the events, and they provide feedback. But for the organizers, things are a bit tricky, because we actually, you have to consider lots of things, quantity or quality. So many people with less work, or hard work with less people. So that's the actually formula. Like I said, currently we are 8 in GDG Istanbul as the core team. But before that, this is the 4th generation of GDG Istanbul since 2009. The first generation was 2, Murat and his co-worker. Then Salim and Tahsin come, so they become 4. That was the 2nd generation, and then they decided to do the first fest ever. So they did it in 2013, and they seen that they success so many things in Turkish tech community, because it changed everything. After that, we seen so much summits, so much conferences, so much events. So they realized that with an actually small effort, you can success so much things in your region. Then comes the 3rd generation. I was actually the first one in the 3rd generation that hand over the flag. And then Murat moved to US, and Tahsin and Salim and Hasan went to Berlin. So the theme actually disappeared at once. So what should we do? We had a role from study jams. So that way, actually, you realize as long as you keep up the events, as long as you know push something, there will be people to take the flag. So they come from the study jams, and we got other people from other chapters. So they started to support the community and do something for GDG Istanbul. That's why the roles are very important. Then the leads. Actually, in Istanbul, we don't believe leads. So we don't have a hierarchic organization in there. The thing is, everyone is organizer, everyone is co-organizer. So we don't have titles. And everything puts so much effort to provide knowledge and provide information to the members. But there is a small difference. What is it? The communication with Google. For GDGs, there will be one or two person to handle the communication between Google and take care of the budget and so on. So the main differences is the leads actually are observing the budget, keeping the communication with the Google, that's it. But the others actually the same with the organizers. Like I said, we have roles, but we have different behaviors. For example, members are not actually, they are the main focus, but they are not the main manpower. So they are mostly seasonal. They come and go. If they like the meeting, if they like the topic, they will be there. But next time they won't be there. So yes, they are the main focus. We try to do everything to invite them to the events, invite them to the meetups, but they are not the manpower. But for the organizers, you have to keep them motivated. You have to provide them a reason that holds them in the community. And mostly, it's the technologies they can experiment. And that was one of the problems for me, because I'm a designer. Google is not so good for providing technologies for designers. That changed for the last 2 years, but we can discuss it. So I was the only designer. Everyone was a developer, and everyone had a reason to be in the community. They were learning new web technologies, Android, Firebase, and so on. But I didn't have that chance until the material design. So what was my motivation? The first one is actually the brotherhood with me and the Murat. So we had a very emotional talk while he was leaving the Turkey. And he was like, yeah, you're the next generation. You're going to build up the community. And when the time comes, we will go, and there should be someone going to take the flag. So I was like, okay, that's my main purpose now. I have to keep the community up. And I motivated myself with the encouragement that I take from Murat. So it's always different for everyone. And then the leads, actually, the main motivation for them should be success in something. Because at the end of the day, we made a dev fest with more than 1,500 people. That's a huge, huge thing. We had a Women Tech Makers event with almost 500 people. That's a huge thing. We are 500 people in here. And Google put so much effort. And they also have separate teams to organize this event, but we are only 8. So that's not a small thing. That's a very, very huge thing. So that's why there is no such thing as a hard person. There is compulsive behavior. That means every time there will be conflicts in the team. So you have to get well, but you don't need to be friends. If you are gathering around the purpose to accomplish something, that's same for the work. If you want to success something, you have to work together, but you don't need to be friends. And you don't need to support same ideas. So how we handled it? The reason is, the first one, we had to be liberal. We have to be democratic. So what we did, actually, for the problem that we cannot solve by talking, we created Google Form for that. So we created forms. We put there the events, the topics, the problems, and that was anonymous. So everyone had the right to talk and vote. So by the results, we evaluate the problem again and go this way. That was the first move. Then we decided to see each other much more time in a month. Before that, we were seeing each other 1 time or 2 times in a month. But now, every week we have a VC. Because Burji is from London. So Errol is now in US for a while. So we have to keep the communication up. And we decided to go with Google Hangouts over VCs. So communication is the heart of the community. By members, you have to communicate with the members. You have to communicate with the other organizers and leads. And for the members, the thing is, there is a funny thing. So while organizing the DevFest 2014, we decided to get support from other chapters in Turkey. And they were actually very kind, and they actually wanted to support us. But it was not easy to communicate each other. So someday Salim came up and he said, there is something called Slack. And we were like, okay, let's try it. We just started using Slack during the organization of the FS 2014. And since then, currently we have 2,000, right? 2,000 members in Slack. We opened it to the community so they can discuss, they can meet, they can ask questions to the others. And now, this is one of the biggest Slack channels in Europe, not in Turkey, in Europe, with more than 2,000 members in it. And it's quite active. And recently, we decided to open up the meetups to the members. That means we organize the meetups together. We create a public channel on Slack. We put them the topic we want to go for. And they were like, okay, we can invite this speaker. That topic will be interesting. Yeah, for the venue, I know somewhere I can go and talk. So we involved them into the community. And they are like half organizer, half member now. They have a purpose. They are motivated. And at the end of the day, when they see the crowd, they are like, yeah, I had something, and that worked. So they jump up the spark, and they're going to attend the community, we hope. The next thing, actually, using skills. Like I did. Since 2014, I've been designing all the digital and visual designs of GDG Istanbul. That's not an easy thing. Since from the badges, from the t-shirts, bags, stickers, posters, photo walls, and everything, because I was not a designer for printed materials. I was a digital designer. So I started to learn how to do designs for printed materials first. The first designs were really awful, but we still used them because there was no other. So actually, I started to learn them. I tried to apply them on my designs. And at the end of the day, now I'm still alone. I'm still doing all the designs for DevFest and International Women's Day, all the monthly meetups and so on. But something happened 2 months ago, actually 3 months ago. 3 months ago, just 5 weeks or 4 weeks before the International Women's Day Summit, I broke my collarbone and spent 40 days in hospital. So I wasn't able to do the designs. And actually, there was one guy who knows using Sketch. So we choose him, and we ask him to do the designs for us. He's originally an Android developer. He's been in the community for 3 years or 4 years now. So he was like, okay, I'm going to try. So the process was like, he was doing the designs. I was providing the templates for him. I was like, go to this site and use this template for badges, use these templates for t-shirts and so on. He was doing something. We were doing a VC, and I was telling him, you should do that, you shouldn't do that, that should be like that, and so on. I was like, at the end of the day, it was one of the best designs we did for International Women's Day event. So when you use the skills, when you actually realize someone else can do it, we can manage it. All right. And you have to build a relationship inside the community. That shouldn't be a friendship, but there will be a relationship between you and the other members. Because community is all about emotions. We are here for a reason. For me, it's self-confidence. I feel self-confident. I feel that I have friendship in there. And sometimes I really feel like I am home. So when you realize that, when you realize it's all about emotions, you see the topic in a different perspective for both members and organizers. And like I said, you should keep in touch. You should a platform for communication between members, organizers, and leads. Slack is a very good option for that. We are very happy by using Slack. And problems, I'm going to be very quick. So problems always going to happen. You will see problems about venues. You will see problems about speaker For 2014, we had a speaker from the team. We just encouraged him to do a talk. And actually, that day, he forgot to bring the presentation with him. So what did we do? What did we do, actually? There was a presentation about Angular. Salim was responsible about that. He forgot the presentation, and attendees actually learned about Google Play Store optimization. Because I had a presentation in ready, so I just told them how they can optimize the Google Play Store page for their application. So what we did, actually, we involved the problem. We discussed how we can fix it. Then I tried. I just jumped on the stage and tried. Sometimes I failed in the first 5 or 10 minutes of the presentation because the expectation is quite different. Then actually I really enjoyed by doing that. Despite I've been actually not sleeping for 52 hours for the organization of the event, but that was a great experience for me. And for once, in 2013, a friend of us, a Googler friend, actually said that he wants to host a talk at the DevFest. And I was like, okay, come. And then he said, I have a friend. Can we come together? Yeah, we said yes. And eventually we realized that they are not co-speakers. The other guy also wants a talk. So at the end of the day, we just arranged 30 minutes and let him speak. That was the only solution we can do. So problems always be there. People always be there. And as long as you also consider them as human beings and think that they all have a purpose and emotion, you will fix the problems. Thank you so much for listening to me. Please join us over Slack and Twitter and Meetup. And have a great day. Thank you.